James.
Well, they may have no option to do so, but boy, looking at it from here, it's not a great option. I mean, you're going to be talking about something that could involve house-to-house fighting. Every single civilian casualty that does occur is going to be trumpeted all over the global media. What is the final endgame for this? Because once, you do this, you eliminate Hamas, then who runs Gaza? Who's going to want to run Gaza? And what do you do about a population that will still largely, be in support of, if not of Hamas itself, of an awful lot of Hamas's ideals?
Well, James, you're absolutely right about the potential for large numbers of civilian casualties. And there have been a lot already in this war, and there will be more, unfortunately. But this is down to Hamas refusing to come to any terms, or indeed to do what they should have done very early on and avoided all this, which was basically laying down their weapons and releasing the hostages. But they haven't done that, and they're not going to do so until they're forced by military action to achieve it. As far as what happens afterwards, let's say the IDF succeed in eliminating Hamas and removing their control over the Gaza Strip, then, of course, Israel is in control of the Gaza Strip. They don't want to do that. They don't want to govern the Gaza Strip. What they want to do, what the hope is there will be some form of Arab coalition to oversee the running of the Gaza Strip and perhaps the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip, but nevertheless with overall Israeli security control and possibly the involvement of serious players in Gaza who are not directly connected with Hamas. I think that there are many plans, and there have been many plans since the beginning of this war for the situation after the war ends, but none of them can be implemented or finalized even until the war does end and we see the situation at the end of the conflict.
But Richard, on that medium to long-term plan, is this Arab coalition going to occupy Gaza? If the people are going to essentially get a voice and a vote, what's going to stop them electing Hamas 2.0, particularly given the depth of feeling after a war like this?
Well, it's a very good point. And I think there's, I don't know at what point in the future there's likely to be any elections in Gaza. Who knows? But I think they will have to have a form of governance imposed upon them, at least on for a temporary period at least. Thereafter, you're absolutely right. They could attempt to revert to something along the lines of Hamas, assuming Hamas is out of the picture. And the same applies in the West Bank, in Judea and Samaria. Hamas is the most popular political entity in the West Bank, as it is in Gaza. And the IDF, the Palestinian Authority haven't held elections for 15 years or whatever it is, for exactly that 19 years, I think, for exactly that reason. And the only way that situation is controlled is by the IDF presence in the West Bank. Otherwise, it would be exactly the same as Gaza is now. So it's a very complicated situation with there's no satisfactory solution, in my view, at the end of this.
And Richard, you were actually there. There's all this debate about the aid and is the aid being blocked or not blocked, et cetera, et cetera. I even saw a rather ridiculous story about the UAE dropping aid by parachutes and it's landing on people's heads and killing them or something or other. I mean, the nonsense that we have to put up with. You were actually there delivering the aid. You've been there very recently, last week I think it was. Tell us the situation with the aid, the delivery of the aid and what's happening. Are people starving or is the aid getting through?
I was there a couple of weeks ago, or about 3 weeks ago, went to visit the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation's secure aid distribution sites where they take aid into Gaza. They've delivered millions and millions of meals already to Gaza in the 6 to 8 weeks they've been operating. And they take it to distribution sites. People come and collect it. And it's very successful. It's very effective. And the other alternative is the United Nations. Their aid, they've been delivering aid since the conflict began, allegedly. But even they confess that 87%, I think it is, of the aid deliveries that they have mounted into Gaza since May have been hijacked and haven't reached their destination. And where does that go? It goes into the hands of Hamas. It's sold on the black market. Those people who need it are not seeing it unless they've got enough money to pay for it. So you end up with any shortage of aid there is due to the UN's inability to get it to its destination. All the people I saw at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation aid sites, which were thousands of Gazans, I spoke to at least 100 of them. All the people I saw, there was no sign whatsoever of starvation or, great hunger. They were lively. They were very, very happy with what they were getting. They were very pleased. They were for the first time in the war, they've got free aid as opposed to the UN aid that's been hijacked and sold in the marketplace. So I think, that the biggest problem that the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has is the opposition to it from the United Nations for their own inexplicable reasons, and also the opposition from Hamas. And Hamas, of course, have been trying to kill people going to the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation sites and intimidate them.
Colonel Richard Kemp, it's always terrific to chat to you. You've been there on the ground, you know what's really going on, and thank you so much for sharing it with us here on Outsiders, as always. Thank you so much, Colonel Richard Kemp.